Hi, today I want to talk about excuses and the role that they have in the learning process. How you can take something that most people have negative connotations with, which is the art of creating excuses for yourself, and turn that into a positive of creating a structured learning environment for yourself where you could learn something that there is no textbook out there showing you how to do, that there is no college course, that there is no certification for, that there are no books on, through solely going through your excuses. So a common question on this channel ever since I started doing these component level videos on motherboards has been, what college did you go to? What certification class did you go to? What books did you read that taught you how to do this? Who showed you this? Like, what web forum are you on? Or what site has a thread that tells you how to do all this? And, you know, a lot of people, I feel, are looking for the secrets. There are people out there that are actually willing to put the work in, but a good amount of you think that there's just some secret to this. And it's the same thing with a lot of the fitness channels on YouTube. You'll see all these questions: how do I get a six-pack in a month? How do I retain staying in shape over 6 months even when I have to work long hours? How do I do this, that, and the other? And there are these people that post these videos that get all these thumbs down because they post the truth. They'll post a video that's 2 or 3 minutes long going, the secret to fast, amazing abs, the secret to large biceps, the secret to staying in shape is hard work, exercise, diet, discipline, determination, confidence. That is how you stay in shape. And they'll get all these thumbs down. And the reality is the same for this business. There are no secrets. I want to explain to you how I learned everything, and I'm going to explain using a process that you can repeat on your own. I do it by using excuses. And I'm going to explain how this works. How, again, I use something that has a negative connotation associated with it, which is creating excuses for why you failed, excuses for why you cannot do something, and how I turn that into a positive of creating a structured learning environment where I know where my brain has to go, I know where my brain has to run, I know where I need to target it so that I can solve the problems that actually matter, the problems that are relevant, how I even know which problems I need to solve. Because, again, in business, it's not always about solving every problem. It's about solving the problems that are relevant to your field. So, one of the things that reminds me of this is math class when I was about first or second grade. So I'm not sure how it works in your country or wherever you're watching this, but in America, the process of learning math takes a really, really long time. So most of you people who went to a public school in New York probably remember those 900 or 1300 page math textbooks. This textbook that you got in first grade that you had to lug around with you, that dragged you down on the bus, was not a textbook that you used for first grade or even just for first and second grade. You had this thing probably up until 7th or 9th grade because it was 900 pages. So one of the examples I give of structured learning is, you learn your addition, then you learn subtraction. Then once you know addition and subtraction, you learn multiplication and division. And one of the things that I did was I decided, let me just move ahead to page 900. I just want to see what's there. And a lot of you you people who grow up in other countries where they're not learning algebra in like 8th grade, you're learning it in 1st or 2nd. You're going to laugh at me when I say this, but it said 2x equals 4. Solve for x. And then they had things like 4x squared equals this, solve for x. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? You have a little number in italics on top of a letter? What is a number doing on top of a letter? To the upper right? And why is there a letter in this? What do you mean solve for x? X is a letter. This isn't even math. What kind of crap is this? And you're going to laugh, 2x equals 4, x equals 2. I mean, again, right now you may think to yourself, a 2-year-old can solve that. But truly, a 2-year-old can't. It's a structured process. And the way you go about figuring that out, again, I had no idea how in God's name I'm ever going to figure out that these letters have anything to do with numbers, but the way you figure that out is through a structured learning process. First we learn addition. Then we learn subtraction. Then we learn multiplication. Then we learn this. Then once we've learned how to do this very, very simple, basic thing, now we try to do a harder version of it, and a harder version of it, and a really hard version of it at the end of the chapter. Every step of the way in the math textbook, they tell you, here's what we're going to cover. Here is the simple version of it. Here's the medium version. Here is the hard version of it. Now here's the next thing we're going to cover, and here's how the stuff that we covered before is going to relate to this. That's a structured learning environment. That's how you can have all of these people from all these different backgrounds with all these different capabilities in terms of how their brain works learn all of this stuff because you've created a structured environment. And that structured environment makes makes it very simple to learn. But what do you do when there is no structured environment? What do you do when you're trying to do something like repair cat piss on an Apple motherboard? There are no structured environments. There are no textbooks on how to fix cat piss on an Apple motherboard. There are no teachers, no classes, no certifications, no colleges, no vocational schools, no mentors, no dummies books, no Bibles, no websites where they're going to go, here is how you fix cat piss or Coca-Cola or Pepsi on an Apple Logic board. It doesn't exist. So what you have to do is you have to create that structured environment for yourself, because without a structured environment, you are not going to know what to learn. You, over the course of your lifetime, cannot know and learn everything. You can't learn how to design this board from scratch. You can't learn what every single component does all the time, how they're all placed together, all this. You can't learn every single little thing there is, every single little IPEX soldering rule, every single thing that's related to the field. Because if you tried to do that, around 80 or 90 years old, you're going to realize you dedicated your life to learning everything, and then you've accomplished nothing. You need to learn first what it is you actually want to learn so that you can get started and go in the right direction. Again, a lot of these people, they're not lazy. Some of the people commenting on my channel, they really are lazy. Like when I say, measure R9731 and tell me what you get, and they go, how do you measure a resistor? You're lazy. I mean, you could have Googled, how do I measure a resistor? There are 2,960,000 results just waiting for you to read this very small little paragraph on how to use a multimeter to measure a resistor, and you chose to ask that question instead of spend that 3 seconds doing a Google search. That would have been quicker than you even typing the question. For a lot of you people, there's laziness. But for all the rest of you, you actually are willing to learn. You are willing to put time and effort in, and you are willing to use your brain so that you can learn. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to throw you a bone and show you how it is you can learn. And that is actually through excuses. Excuses are going to allow you to create a structured environment for yourself, and I'm going to tell you how to do that right now. And it may seem silly, it may seem weird, you may want to laugh at me for some of the stupid crap I'm going to be telling you, but it's all true, and it all led me up to where I am now. So one of the first excuses I had for myself when I wanted to do this came from working in the music and the audio and the pro audio world, where all this gear that came out in between 1951 and 1976 is still in use today. A lot of this gear was point-to-point soldering, and a lot of it was just regular PC boards with no SMD components. And there was in the pro audio world, there was this big disdain among technicians and do-it-yourselfers and people who like pro audio with surface mount. Again, I don't know what it is. It's just they hate it. They say that cheap surface mount stuff, it's not fixable. You can't repair. You can't modify it. They do that to make it cheaper, man. To manufacture it cheaper, man. They use a surface mount crap, man, that we can't fix. And I'm not saying that dummies are saying that. I mean, there is somebody that I was working for who was getting paid $75 to $150 an hour to solve problems that no other tech in New York City could solve. And he was good that talked like this. Again, it's like if I can't take it off with this thing, I give up. It's not like, anything else existed. It's not like he could just reach on his bench and grab this thing and use this to take the surface mount component off. No. Surface mount, unfixable. And just so many people had this mentality. And again, you may think this is silly and stupid, but go back to that misinformation video. When people that you trust tell you that something is true, and you don't have a reason to not believe them, again, this stuff spreads like wildfire. This kind of crap and bullshit and misinformation spreads like wildfire, especially when it's distributed amongst people who are actually respected in the community. So I just thought, well, I would love to fix this. I just can't replace the surface mount component. The tools to do it are too expensive, and I can't see it, and it's just impossible. And that was an excuse. Then I bought the Hakko FR801. When I bought this iron, when I bought this rework station, it was $650. Let me tell you something. I had no idea how to solder an SMD. I had no idea how to use that, and I had no idea how to turn that into money. I had no jobs waiting for me to turn that into money. I didn't buy that with the idea that I am going to buy the $650 tool, and tomorrow I'm going to make $900 off of it. That's a short-sighted way of thinking. What I had in mind was one basic goal. I am going to remove the excuses, and as I remove the excuses, I am going to learn. So I removed the excuse by buying that rework station. Now the next day came and it's, well, I would love to know what to replace. I just don't know what to replace. I don't know what any of these components are or what they do. At the studio, I had a schematic for the gear, so I knew what everything did. I guess I just can't fix this. That's an excuse that people make for themselves. It's an excuse, and I want you to notice the pattern of excuses. I see the same thing with the MacBook Air. Again, there are these people that have these mindset where, anything that I cannot open with my Phillips screwdriver is something that I just can't fix. Well, on a PC, they have screws and a bezel I can pop off. This bezel doesn't pop off. It's not made to be fixed. And because it's not made to be fixed, I can't work on it. Again, excuses are there so that people do not feel inadequate. So, it's easier for people to say, well, this is just not made to be fixed and all the tools I have won't open it, so I can't fix it. That's easy to say. It's hard to say, I lack the time and the inclination to actually go out there and learn new things in my field. And because I lack the time or inclination to learn anything new, I just don't feel like learning how to do this, which is why I don't do it. That's the hard thing to say, even though that's the truth. For me, with my supply company, it's easy to say there's no money in selling screens. It's easy to say that this is something that I don't want to do, or that it doesn't make a lot of money, so I'm not interested. Or it's hard to sell the truth. It's hard to say, I am terrible at logistics, and as a result of being terrible at logistics, I provided terrible service to my customers. As a result of providing terrible service to my customers, they decided to go elsewhere. And as a result of me having no business, I decided it would make financial sense to close that business. It's hard to say that. It's easy to make the excuse for yourself, which is why people make excuses for themselves instead of telling the truth. And some of that is true. Again, selling screens is not something I was passionate about. It required skills in fields that I do not have, and it also requires a hell of a lot more money than I have, but that's a discussion for another video. Anyway, point here is you got to go down and crunch all the excuses. So you're going to take these excuses and you're going to take what people usually take that excuse and they stop and they give up, but instead you're going to crush the excuse and use that to go to the next level. So what you're doing is you're taking all these excuses and you're using them to create a blueprint, to create a curriculum for yourself that you are then going to follow to take you to the next level. You're going to figure out which problems you need to solve. Again, my next problem. Well, I don't have the schematic. I don't know where this stuff is, and it's not available, so what do you do? This was back years ago. This isn't now where you Google 820-3437, and the schematic is just there available for you on result 2 of Google, and you PayPal these people $10 and it's there. You have no idea how frustrating it is when people are like, I don't have the schematic, so I can't figure it out. How about you buy it? It's $10. I can't believe I just caught that. Anyway, it's seriously, it's right there. Google it. Again, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I want a schematic for something. It's result 89 on Google, and I gotta join a forum that's Polish or Romanian or Russian with a Google translator that sucks. Then I have to send 10 or 20 or $30 to somebody I don't know to get points. Not even to get a schematic, to get points that I then trade for this freaking PDF that you can get for $10. Jesus Christ. Anyway. I'm not even going to go dive into that right now. Well, the point is, then I got rid of that excuse for myself. So I get rid of that excuse for myself, right? Now I have the schematic, but I don't know where any of these components are on the board because Apple boards are not marked. They're not marked. If I don't know where the component is, how am I supposed to find what it is I need to replace? So then I decided to go on another expedition at 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning where I spend, 3 or 5 hours looking for one stupid file, and I figured out they have these things called board views where you can actually look within the file and you can open it with a program that comes with the file, and now I can see where this component is. So I don't know where R9731 is. I type it in and it shows me on a little diagram, and I solved it. Then I got to the point where I know what to replace. I just can't see it. I can't see this damn thing. I don't know how I'm going to replace it if I can't actually see it. So I bought a microscope. I didn't even know. I hadn't used a microscope since 7th grade, 6th grade biology. But I bought it with the idea that I am removing an excuse. Then the next excuse, I can't remove this component with my cheap, crappy Weeha tweezers. And I know that there are a lot of people that are going to get mad that I just called these things cheap and not great. But once you use some of these Hakko tweezers, and I'm kind of a Hakko fanboy like this, like the 3SA, to pick up SMD components compared to using this, you're just going to pretty much be throwing these at the wall. The Hakko tweezers, this is where it's at. And they have all different shapes of Weeha, but the Hakko tweezers for this, again, I love Weeha tools. Hakko tweezers just crap all over them. But that's a subject for another video. Anyway, I keep getting off course here. because it's late and I'm kind of tired. But the point is, I decided to buy a microscope to remove that other set of excuses for myself. Now you got more excuses. Well, I would, I would love to replace this component, but it's just I got to go through so much to find it, and I got to find exactly where a 300 kilo ohm resistor is in another board. So what I did to get rid of that excuse is I decided to buy a stack of each board. So I found this company that sells these things. So the way this works is these boards will be boards that did not work for like literally one component was bad. They did not pass quality inspection. And you wind up being able to buy these things for 15 bucks, and they have every single component on them. So not only do they have all the components on it, but since it's the same as the board that I'm working on, since it's the exact same board, I know exactly where it is, so I don't have to look it up. It makes the procedure that much faster. Now, there are more excuses. I got the PDF, I got the schematic, but I don't understand what this little thing does. I don't understand what this chip does. I don't understand what, tab 28 or pin 28 of this thing does. And there's no data sheet. I guess I'm screwed. What I would do is I would Google that chip. I would Google a chip that was very similar, and I would find the data sheet to that chip. Because again, Apple likes to lock down the data sheets to even the little components that make up their laptops. Like, it's one thing to not tell anybody how to fix them. It's one thing to charge $750 and tell people to go fuck themselves when they go to the store. But it's another to actually lock down all the information to the point where I can't even get a data sheet for a battery charger. But anyway, so you look up for a very similar chip, a data sheet for a PC laptop where they're not, out of their mind lunatics that want to hide and lock down all the information, and you find it, and now I know what that pin does. Now I know what CPU IMVP_ton does. I have a better understanding of why it blows on a regular basis. I have an understanding of what these things are actually doing. I got rid of the excuse. I had the excuse, I got rid of the excuse, and because I got rid of the excuse, it led to me learning something. And I wasn't learning something irrelevant. I was learning something that had very high level of relevance to my specific field, very high relevance to me being able to turn what I'm doing into money, because the excuses are directly related to what I can't do. I have a problem. Here's what I want to do to make money. I can't do it because of X. So when you solve X, you have solved a problem that is very specific to making money. Because again, there are people that go to soldering schools before they start doing this. There are people that go to college how to run a business before they open an iPhone repair store and all this kind of stuff. You're learning how to solve so many problems that have nothing to do with the problems that you have in the real world. The greatest way to figure out the specific problems that you should solve, and the way I've been able to shortcut my way through life and get all of this stuff accomplished at the age of 26, is through coming up with the excuses and then crossing off the excuses. So there are a lot of things that I don't know how to do, but there are a lot of things that I do know how to do that are very, very relevant to my business because they're directly related to the problems that I had. And that's what excuses do for you. And I was able to learn a lot because of it. And it's also related to productivity. Excuses are not just related to learning, it's productivity. So this chair is a great example. I got to a point where I was sitting here for 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 hours a day, banging my head against the wall trying to learn some of this stuff, and it got to a point where it's like, I want to solve this problem, but I just don't want to sit here anymore. So I found myself getting up a lot and not sitting down at the chair. So I decided to get rid of that excuse. I got myself an Aeron chair. This is a $574 chair that I got right here. Move the camera a little, show you up and down how this thing is. And let me tell you, standing up, even just right now, it's just painful in comparison to sitting down in this chair. Sitting down in I look forward to coming to work and sitting at this desk because I get to sit in this chair. And that's a very, very beautiful thing. Every boss wants to hear that their employees do not want to get up because they just love sitting in their chair. It may not be the best when it's the boss himself that gave himself that chair. Yeah, I'm really not good with the camera. Anyway, so I got this chair. And that chair got rid of one of my excuses, and it became easier to sit down. So I had another excuse related to my own productivity, and that was schematics. I have the schematics now, so what could the excuse be? I'm looking at them on a 14-inch Lenovo screen, 1080p 14-inch screen, so every time I want to find something, zoom out, zoom in. Scroll, zoom out, zoom in. Scroll, zoom out, then zoom in. Scroll. Oh, I want to see it on the board view. Alt-tab. I want to see it over here. Alt-tab. Zoom out, zoom in, scroll. It was like to get anything done. I know this seems very simple. I know this seems very, very silly and very stupid that I'm actually considering this a problem. But the thing is, when you're doing this for 5, 6, 8, 12 hours a day, and you're doing this like literally once every 3 to 10 seconds to find something, every 3 to 10 seconds, zoom in, zoom out, scroll, Alt-tab. It just becomes a pain in the ass to the point where you'd almost rather guess. You'd almost rather guess to try to figure something out than just go over there and know you have to scroll through this crap and squint to see it there. So I got myself a 4K 39-inch television. Amazing PDF viewer. Crap monitor. Garbage monitor. I do not recommend any of you buy this to use it as a computer monitor. But if you need to view large format PDFs, schematics or drawings, architectural layouts and diagrams of buildings, and you don't want to squint and scroll back and forth, this thing is amazing. And for $339, this is the most expensive piece of paper I've ever bought and the most amazing piece of anti-aliased, high-resolution, large paper I've bought. Shittiest, cheapest, crappiest garbage television / monitor I've ever got, with color and refresh and all that, but great for that. And I got that, and it removed another set of excuses for me. And every time I remove an excuse, I notice I learn more, my productivity goes up, my capability to make money goes up, and the most important thing, I'm solving the problems that are relevant to my business, because the excuses that I make for why I cannot accomplish what I want to accomplish are directly related to the problems that I have that are keeping me from making money. Again, I'm not here to solve all the world's problems. I'm not Mother Teresa. I'm not here to solve all the potential problems I may have over the course of a lifetime. I'm here to solve the problem that's right in front of me. And the problem for a lot of you people, it's not that you don't know how to solve the problem. You don't even know what the problem is. You don't even know what you're supposed to be learning. You don't even know where you're supposed to be applying yourself. Again, some of you are lazy. Some of you will literally not even Google how to test a resistor before you type out a paragraph message asking me to help you. And that's just lazy, stupid shit. But for you people who really want to learn, and who really want to apply yourself and put work in and use your brain to learn everything, I understand. Okay, I'm ready, but where do I start? I have no idea where to start. Start with your first excuse. And it's hard to come up with solutions to problems. It's hard to come up with a solution to a problem. But it's very, very easy to identify a problem through an excuse. It's hard to come up with a business proposal or to propose how to solve an issue for somebody else, but it's very, very easy for you to go, okay, why are you not solving this? What's missing? I don't know how to do this. Okay, well now you know how to do this. What's keeping you from solving it? I don't have this tool. Well, now you have this tool. What's keeping you from solving it? Well, I don't have a diagram. Now you have a diagram. What's keeping you from solving it? I don't have parts. Well, now you have parts. What's keeping you from solving it? This is something that I learned from a very young age from my dad, because if we were trying to solve a complex problem, he was impatient when it came to problems or annoying problems. It wasn't even that the problem was annoying him. It wasn't even that the problem was irritating, like the TV is getting bad reception, that would piss him off. It's not even like that he wants to watch Seinfeld, that it's annoying him. It's why doesn't it work that pisses him off. Even after Seinfeld or 24 was done, it's just pissing him off so much that the problem exists that he has to solve it. And that's the approach that he took with me. So I would give him excuses as to why I could not do something, and he would go, okay, we fixed that. Now what's next? Okay, we did that. Now what's next? Okay, you have this. Now what's next? He would always present me with the solution to my problem and then go, okay, now what's your excuse? Not to be a wise ass, but to show me. My dad wanted to show me at a young age that every single problem in life is solvable so long as you find the excuses that are keeping you from fixing it, and then removing the excuses. It's not about thinking really hard about how to solve all the problems. It's about solving the problems that are relevant to your business, that are relevant to your life. That's what's going to make you successful. And again, that's how, at 26, as somebody who had a C minus D, whatever, 72 average during high school, who dropped out of college after failing chemistry, how I'm sitting here with a successful business, 4 or 5 full-time employees, making money off of people sending boards in from all around the country. It's that simple. You make your list of your excuses. Then you seek to remove the excuses, and you win. You learn. Again, it's not about, I'm going to buy this desoldering station so that I can make money at it. You shouldn't be buying that station with the idea that you're going to make a ton of money at it. If that's what you're doing, you're wrong. You need to buy that station with the idea that right now in my business, I am not solving this problem, and my excuse for not solving this problem is that I do not have a Hacko 808. If I had a Hacko 808, I'd be set. Now you've removed an excuse. And what you're going to find is that there are a lot of excuses that are going to pop up. You're going to find a lot of excuses that pop up along the way, but I'm telling you, so long as you can manage to remove them without bankrupting yourself, you will get somewhere from it. I did start with $200 in a crappy apartment, and I did buy an ultrasonic cleaner to remove an excuse. I did buy this thing to remove an excuse. I bought all these silly little things to remove excuses, and now I'm at the point where I'm buying $7,000 BGA rework stations to remove excuses for myself as to why I can't do things. And as time goes on, as your business gets more serious, you're going to notice that you're taking it further and further, and you're spending more and more money to remove excuses, because like me, you realize that when you remove excuses, you give yourself a chance to learn something that's going to be relevant, and you heighten your chances for actually achieving success and doing something with your life. And that's really all I got to teach you today. So, how did I learn this? What's the secret to it? How, what class did I take? What book did I read? I didn't read it. I didn't. They don't exist. They're not there. You have to remove the excuses yourself so that you know what to hunt for, so that you know how to learn. And that's it.